Okay, so we're going to be talking about the compensation plan here, mainly the 2x2 compensation plan and exactly how it works. There's been a lot of questions specifically on this number one and number two spot right here. Okay, so these two. As most of you probably know, this is you at the top right here, the very top right here. This is you. And this is just the 2x2 matrix. You have spot number one, spot number two, spot number three, four, five, and six. Okay. And what you've probably heard on every presentation is very simple. Number one and two get paid up line. Number three, four, and five. So this one, and this one get paid directly to you. And then number six gets paid up to your sponsor. Okay. Now, number six may not take this position. It could also take this position right here, but the sixth cell is what we're referring to, okay? Goes up and goes to your sponsor. So that's the way that it works right now. I'm just gonna erase some of this stuff so we can get back to it, because I wanna really address, the question specifically around the number one and the number two spot. So this spot right here and this spot right here, a lot of people are having a hard time understanding what upline means. What does that exactly mean when people say upline or global spillover or things like that? So in order to understand that, you have to understand one thing. You are at the top of your matrix, and so is everybody else. Everybody else is at the top of their own matrix. So right now, if we're looking at this spot right here is number three to you. This spot is number four to you. But this person right here, your number one person, if you draw this matrix out a little bit further here, like this, what you can see now is this, even though this person is number one to you right here, their number one and their number two are your number three and your number four. Everybody get that? So this is you at the top here, and this is your matrix, okay? So this is your number three, four, and five spot, and this is number six right here. But this person right here that is in your number one spot, they also have their own matrix, and it looks like one, two, and then three, four, five, and six for them. So everybody's matrix is together. So same thing right here, this person right here would have their own matrix. So the question is, well, what happens to these one and two cells? Will they always go to your sponsor? What does upline mean? And the answer is this. The answer is it could go to a lot of different people, because the key component is whoever is at the top of the matrix. So let me give you an example. So this is you right here, as we mentioned, and your number one and number two spots here, okay? So number one and number two spots, they could be filled by you, or they could have been filled by your sponsor or whoever is above you, right? So these two spots could have been filled by you. So you may or may not have anything to do with these people right here in your number one and number two spots, okay? Now, when they go out there and they start referring people, so let's just say that your number three and your number four spot come in, and they come from this person right here. They come from your number one spot. If that was to happen, since this is their number one and number two spot, even though you may not be their sponsor right here, guess what? You're going to receive the payment because it's their first two cells, and their first two cells go up line to whoever is at the top of this matrix, which happens to be you, okay? Now, it could have worked that, let's just take it over here to your number two spot. Let's say that you did actually refer this person, okay? So you referred this person right here, you personally sponsored them. Now, in this case, number one and number two to them, which is also your number five and your number six, but it's number one and number two to them, these cells would also be paid up line, right? Okay, because it's number one and number two to them. Now, since you're their sponsor, it would happen to go to you, right? But it could have been the other way, that you didn't actually sponsor them and it would have worked that way. So let me erase some of these arrows and things like that to help you kind of understand a little bit further of what we're referring to, okay? All right, so here we go. Let me get that last one there. Okay, so here we are, we're back on it, okay? Now to take it even a step further, look, all matrices are connected. So this goes down even further, just like this, okay? So every single one of these is gonna have their own matrix. So what most of you are probably thinking, well, it's just you at the top of your matrix, and where are these cells actually going? And the reality is it does not work like that. It works that everybody's matrix is actually connected in one way or another, okay? So now what we're looking at is, this is you at the top of your matrix, but take a look down here. Your number three, your number four, your number five, and your number six, they all have their own matrix right now. So you can see it right here. This would be your number three's matrix. Now I'm going to erase that, but I just wanted to show you, just so you have a complete understanding, that every matrix is tied together. So in these examples, you may or may not have referred these people. However, their number one and their number two cells are going to be paid upline. So let's take it a step further. Okay, let's just say this is your number four spot. Okay, here you are at the top, your number one and your number two, your number three and your number four is right here. So your number four spot, let's say that they go out there and they start building their matrix and they put in their number one and their number two. Well, we know number one and number two are paid upline. So where would upline be in this case? It would be to this person right here, who is at the top of their matrix. So keep in mind something. This could be someone that you personally referred, or it could have been someone that your sponsor personally referred, or whoever is at the top of your matrix could have referred this person right here, which means your person right here in your number four spot actually may have had nothing to do at all with getting that person in. They may not even be connected with them. So that's why it is called a global spillover, or why some people are questioning where this thing goes. Because I think that, like I said, I think most people are just assuming that everything goes directly to the sponsor, and that's absolutely not the case. When we're talking about paying upline, we're talking about is whoever's at the top of the matrix at the time. So let's take it a step even further, okay? So here is your number four spot. You can see this matrix beneath them right here. This is their personal matrix, right? So again, if we drew it out even further here, just one more time, just to kind of give you guys even a bigger example of this, it's going to get a little bit shaky here, but you can kind of see this. Now we've got your number one and your number two. They have their own personal matrix underneath them. So guess what? When they go out there and they make their number one and number two cells, guess what? It's going to be paid upline, which happens to be to your number four. Now, again, your number four, it could have came from you. It could have came from your number one, right? So there's a lot of different aspects to this. So when we're talking about being paid upline, you have to understand something. What we are referring to is whoever is at the top of the matrix. So to break it down even further, here we go. Let me break it down to you like this. At the top of the main matrix is this. This is you, right? This is your matrix, okay? At the top of the next matrix would be right here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So right here, these 6 positions right here are this person's matrix. This right here is the top of another matrix. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. To take it even a step further, we got another matrix that starts here, another matrix that starts here, another matrix that starts here, and another matrix that starts here. So every single time someone comes into this smart contract, there's a brand new matrix that's created and you're at the top of it. However, the people that are going to be paid upline from spot number 1 and number 2 could be a majority of different people. It does not have to be your personal sponsor. In fact, it doesn't even have to be connected to your personal sponsor. It could have been placed there by someone else. So that's why it's global spillover. Now, I want to take this one step further here, and I'm actually going to disregard this and start a new sketch here. Okay. So here we go. So we're going to draw this out one more time, and I'm going to draw just 2 little matrices here instead of one gigantic one like I just did. So give me just a second. Okay, so here we go. Here is 2 different matrices. What I want to do right now is I just want to talk about the power of the 2x2 follow me system. Okay, so the way that this works, if this is you at the top, okay, and right here, this is an empty matrix that we're showing right here. Okay, so I'm actually going to erase that, but this is an empty matrix. Okay, so here you are, and let's just say that you fill up number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, you personally sponsor every single one of these people. Okay, that means that they came to your link and they signed up with you. Every single time they cycle, so this number 1 here, in order for number 1 to cycle, we know that their matrix has to fill up, right? So even though it's 3 and 4 for you, we know that this is 1 and 2 for them, and this would be their 3, 4, 5, and 6. If they were to fill that up, so number 1, you personally sponsored them, they filled it up. When they cycle, guess what? Well, when you cycled, you filled up all 6. So you're going to go right here to your brand new matrix. When number 1 cycled, guess what? They are going to take the next available spot in your matrix. Same with number 2, same with number 3, same with number 4, same with number 5, and same with number 6. Okay, now in the order that they cycle. The reason why I'm showing you that, and I know that that's a lot of lines and a lot of stuff to follow, is you have to understand the follow me system and the power of it. Every single time someone that you personally sponsor cycles, they're going to follow you back in here. So that's why it's so important to get out there and build your business, personally refer people. And now I hope you have a better understanding of not only the follow me system of how powerful it is, but also the understanding that the matrices build on top of one another. So everybody has their own matrix, just like you do. And when you start talking about that number 1 and number 2, just like that right there, even though this is your number 1 and 2, it's somebody else's number 3 and 4 or 5 and 6. So, I hope this gives you a better, understanding of the matrix system in the way that it works. But you have to understand the power of that number 1 and 2 being able to be paid upline. It's not going to come from the people that you just personally sponsor. It's going to come from people that are in your matrix and that you're at the top of. And again, that can come from you. It can come from people above you. It can come from your sponsor. It can even come from people below you, but you have the ability to do that. So very powerful, the follow me system, and I'm not going to get into this today, but there's many other contracts out there that talk about having a matrix system, that they're simply not a matrix system. They're just a pass up system. And, you eventually end up losing anyone that you refer. So that's for a whole nother video, but listen, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. I hope you have a complete understanding of the comp plan now, at least the 2x2 follow me system. The 1x3 is very, very simple, but the 2x2 gets a little bit of questions, especially like I said, on this number 1 and this number 2 spot. But like I said, I hope that you have a much better understanding now. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and have a great day.